Alrighty, well, welcome everyone. Yes, we have been extremely blessed to have, Ruth and Cal and Carrie put just fabulous presentations together. So everyone, are y'all ready to get this started? Yes, let's go ahead and give, yes, great, awesome. Okay, so without further ado, I wanna go ahead and introduce the man who does not need an introduction. As you already know. But here we are, all welcoming Erik Dalton.
Hi.
Erik Dalton began his professional life studying the human mind, earning his PhD in clinical psychology from the University of Oklahoma. He pursued training and practice in massage therapy and spent several years studying the human musculoskeletal system and even pursued training with Ida Rolf and techniques from osteopathy. Dalton released his first educational course, Musculoskeletal Alignment Techniques, or MAT, in 1998, which later grew to become the world-renowned Freedom from Pain Institute, which is dedicated to continued research and treatment of chronic pain through certifying manual therapies. So without further ado, welcome, Erik. It is
Hi.
Yes,
Thanks,
awesome.
guys.
I actually just wanted to sing your praises just a little bit longer, if I could, Erik, if you don't mind.
I don't know.
So
That was quite enough for me. That introduction, Ruth.
uh,
Okay.
yeah. So, well, I just wanted to tell the audience, though, that you were actually my first yes to this summit. So, I want everybody to say thank you to Erik. So if you want, Erik, go ahead and look in the chat box. Everybody's going to be thanking you.
Oh, really?
Make a special thank you. Yes. So without Erik saying yes to being the first one, we wouldn't have been able to put this amazing panel together. So it was his name, his contacts, and everything that really got the ball rolling and all of that. So please.
Oh, it was only because you're from West Texas. I wouldn't have done it to, Odessa, Midland. I've got family all over that place, and they would have,
Awesome.
all tuning in.
Well, Texas and Oklahoma have this love-hate thing, right?
I don't know. I have a lot of love for Texas because I
I
have
know,
so
I know.
many relatives. I spent a lot of time down there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And
Yeah.
then I also want to make one more announcement. So Ann Williams, our speaker from Tuesday, and Erik Brown and Erik Dalton are the ones who put together the 2-hour CE massage in time of COVID video course that's going to be free for all attendees. So if him saying yes wasn't enough, adding this 2 CE free course, let's thank him for that as well.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job with that. With the preventing disease. So we were talking about that before we came on today. And this is just a snippet of it. It's 2 hours, but it's some of the latest research they keep updating all the time, which of course you have to do all the time.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Erik, just to kind of catch you up with all of us, we love stories here in the summit. It's our ability to kind of make those connections with our speakers. And we actually found that all the speakers before you were involved in theater and had some artistic creative side. And I actually just found out that you're part of a band called the Flying Burritos Brothers. So tell us a little bit about that and your journey being in a band.
Well, I started out as a dancer. My mom was what they back then was Arthur Murray dance teacher. It was ballroom dance teaching. And so my sister and I started dancing when I was 5 years old. So we danced for 13 years, danced professionally, did some college plays and stuff like that. And but I didn't do theater. I was terrible at that. I never even attempted that. But I always admired drumming. My uncle was a drummer, and so yeah, I started drumming, and I started my first band before my junior year of high school. And that band we lived in University of Oklahoma town, Norman. And so we became a really popular college band, played all over the place. So we finally when we graduated, we had a record contract waiting for us out in Los Angeles, and that band was Southwind. And then when that band finally broke up, I went with a band called Flying Burrito Brothers, which was, a precursor to, it came from the Byrds, and a couple of them became the Eagles. And so that was that whole deal. If you watched Laurel Canyon, all 6 of my bandmates were in that 2-part video series that's out now called Laurel Canyon. So yeah, it was I love music. I still have a band in Costa Rica. I have a home in Costa Rica, and yeah, I got a band called Teak over there. It's not my band. I'm part of a band over there, and so yeah, I still play. I still play every day, every morning. Part of my routine is working on my practice pad, and then if my wife lets me play my electronic drums at night, I do that too.
That is awesome. So you have some people here that are saying they love you, they love your music, y'all were legends. That is awesome. So what about the transition into massage? Tell us the story about what kind of got you interested, how you got started into massage.
Well, actually, I had been doing this diet, this raw food diet that was being taught at the Health Institute of San Diego. And I'd been wanting to go there and teach nutrition. I'd been doing the program for 5 years. And so I got accepted to go there. So that was in nutrition. But I'd seen Ida Rolf, Dr. Rolf, in '72 at a presentation at Esalen. And I had a problem, rib problem, it turns out to be. And from hitting that 2 and 4 bass drum in the recording studios. And so I finally found a guy, a Rolfer in Del Mar. I was working at the Health Institute of San Diego, and somebody in the kitchen came in and said, "Hey, I've got this Rolfer," and I'd been looking for somebody in LA for quite a while after I saw Dr. Rolf, and they helped me. And that's what happened back then, you know. But people got into massage and body work from experiences they had. Somebody touched their body and made a change, and they go, "I want to do that." And when that happened to me, you know, I mean, I never said I wanted to do that. My Rolfer out there in Del Mar is the one that talked me into it. I was really not interested at all in touching bodies. I thought I would be being in the nutrition field forever. And so he convinced me to just go to one of the massage colleges out there while I was working at the Health Institute of San Diego. And right off the bat, I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I wasn't kinesthetic. I wasn't good. I wasn't a good practitioner. Some people just have that natural ability with their hands. That wasn't me. I was more visual, auditory. But I love the science of it, and I still love the science of it. And then I grew to be a good with my hands. I grew to be good with my hands and body, and so yeah, you know, it's the greatest profession in the world, in my opinion. You know, you've got your hands, you can go anywhere and help people, and that's what I wanted to do. Only place you don't want to go with your hands and help people is at family reunions.
Yeah, right.
Everybody wants you to, you know.
Right.
Work on them. I got this neck problem.
Yes, that's exactly right. So, yeah, speaking of which, everyone in this group, you know, we're all at like a really vulnerable time, you know, seeking meaningful connections. And I know you have a background in like psychology and all of that. So you understand, you know, the process of going through a struggle. So what was like a major struggle for you, you know, kind of going through, you know, your journey?
Right. Well, first of all, I just want to say that this is July 7th is my 40th year in the business. And I have been through a lot of things that I thought were going to change my practice forever and possibly drive me out of the business forever. And those things never really happened. I mean, this is happening. I'm not saying this isn't happening. I'm just saying that this too will pass. And people who are thinking about getting into body work are not sure, hang in there, because good things are going to happen, and this is coming back. Touch therapy is never going away. For me, I had a practice. So when I got out of the Rolf Institute, I was back out in California at the Rolf Center of Santa Monica. And I came back here to visit my parents. My dad had a brain tumor. Came back here to help my mom, and met a gal, you know, met a gal from here in Oklahoma and ended up marrying her. But when I got back here and started my Rolfing practice, no one knew what Rolfing was in Oklahoma in 1984. They go, roofing. They call me and go, yeah, I need a good roofer. You know, I've been having trouble. This has been leaking forever. And, you know, so yeah, it was a struggle. That's the first main struggle is, you know, nobody knowing you. And it really wasn't a hands-on community at all. There was hardly any holistic health back then. That was a big struggle, getting a practice going from the very beginning, you know, and, you know, it was arduous. But, you know, and then we had stuff like the Murrow bombing building, the terrorist thing that went on, you know, April 19th, 1995. You know, we worked on a lot of the volunteers and the people, the firemen and all those people who were trying to to figure out what was going on in this world, you know, and I thought that was possibly the collapse of the Oklahoma bodywork scene and everything. And instead it enhanced it because so many therapists stepped up to go to the scene of the crime really and help, you know, do the body work right out there, those people who are pulling bodies out and all that stuff. But there have been a lot of those things. You know, the oil boom, when I got back here, and you can relate to this because you're in Texas, but in '84 we were just getting out of the boom and into the bust, and so, you know, that was another thing. People didn't have any money, so, you know, yeah, I was doing 36 people a week eventually, but it took me a while to get you know, to get people to do it. And what got me into it is working with pain problems. I fractured my neck in '89, thought that'd be the end of my career. Couldn't even pick up a pencil off the table with my left arm for 6 months. That radial nerve had completely blocked and was, you know, squashing that thing. And I thought maybe that was the end of my career too. But, you know, things happen, and you, if your passion's there and you don't give up, you know, just around the corner, something good starts to happen. And that's what happened to me. 6 months later, I was able to use my arm and get back into body work. But I've had a lot of bad things happen that I thought were going to be unredeemable, and they are. And I think this thing we're going through right now is going to be, there's some good things that are going to come out of it. And there's already been some good things come out of it. I walk my dogs through my neighborhood here. It's like the 50s. The people are out in the yard waving at everybody and, you know, working in their yards and all that stuff. It's really the sense of community now that we didn't have here a year ago.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. I love the positive spin that you put on it, you know, and the fact that you said, you know, this too shall pass. I really love that. I think, you know, we're all in need of some positivity and, you know, just that sense of community. You know, this community alone wouldn't have been built without, you know, this happening as well. So we can definitely, you know, count our blessings. So I really appreciate you saying that. So in terms of, you know, you said that there have been several times where, you know, business kind of went down and all those types of things. I guess this is one of those times. I think it's extremely important, you know, to stay in touch with your clients, even through times like this. How important is it for you, you know, to stay in touch with, you know, your clients and you know, other therapists and stuff?
Well, that's really, to me, a key point in this whole thing. You know, people do not have to have you touching them. A lot of what goes on is that biopsychosocial thing that we've been talking about, the pain science people have brought into our community. And it's really, really helpful to, first of all, right when it first happened, I just got back, and we'd been in Costa Rica for 3 months. And so we got back and I was just getting ready. I had clients backed up for the entire year, this entire year. And they were wanting to get in, and, you know, and a lot of them were desperate because a lot of them are in chronic and acute pain. So immediately, rather than emailing them and all that stuff, I got on and started calling every single person that was on my list and explaining the whole thing and saying, listen, let's talk. Anytime you need to talk about this thing, are you doing your home retraining exercises? Get down and do those planks and whatever for them. And that's really helpful. The most important thing they need to know is that you're there for them, because when they come back, they are going to be a dedicated client patient from now on, because you stuck with them and they knew you were there for them. And so it's going to be something that they never forget. And so I constantly am keeping in touch with my clients. I don't do it on Facebook. Some people do it on social media. I focus that mainly for the therapist. You know, we're starting to do what's your favorite myoskeletal technique of the week, and people list all the different techniques they'd like to see me do. And so we film a bunch of those, and so we start to put those out every week. And that's what this coming week we're doing for free. You know, we don't want to, you know, don't want to charge any people right now for anything. So we're giving everything away that we can. I've got 187 YouTube videos that are all free. I have a website with almost 400 articles on it that have blogs and videos, all free, you know. So right now, therapists need encouragement, and I'm not, you know, I'd like for them to come buy my books and videos and products and all that stuff. But right now, it's all about thinking about your friends, your therapists, the people that have supported you over the years, right?
Yes, absolutely. I love that message. And those of you that are listening, let's give a shout out to Erik. If you've seen him on YouTube, if you've read one of his blogs, those are all super inspiring. A lot of work goes into that, and all of that is free. So yeah, that's all amazing information. Okay. Yeah. So I know that you said you actually call, your clients and everything. And I love that. I absolutely love that because, you're taking the time for them to know that you're thinking about them. But in terms of, some of them that you're not, able to call,
Right.
how important is it to be able to have a presence on social media and to be able to, actually get your message across that way, that you're still thinking and caring about your clients?
I just don't do that much on social media with my clients. For some reason, I don't know why I have not done that, because I think it's well, I have some, but basically, if obviously you can't call everybody, or text them or whatever. And some people are more, if I can use the word, fragile. And those are the people that I really concentrate on, the people that I think really are going to need the help. I know them because I've been working on them, and I know what kinds of things they're going through in their lives aside from COVID. And so those people are the kind that I'll FaceTime them, do whatever they want. I've got plenty of time. Yeah, but you're right. Facebook is a very good medium. If you have your clients on Facebook and all that, to be able to communicate with them on Facebook is a good thing. I just don't really do that. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. So what are your thoughts on, being able to help our clients, like what you were saying, you give them a call and tell them to do those, retraining exercises and things. But what are your thoughts of actually calling, FaceTime maybe, and doing like step-by-step with them with those self-care techniques and things?
Yeah, well, that's part of it. You have to do that too. Sometimes you have to tell them. In my practice, it works like this. I'll do a session and I'll give them like 3 home retraining exercises to take home, their homework. And that's how I determine how far I spread them out. When I get my appointment book in October, by the end of October, I'm booked for the whole next year. And so what I try to do is space people out, make them more independent. And the way you do that is by making sure that they're doing their home retraining exercises. So as soon as they come back in for each session, I'll say, okay, show me the 3 exercises that I taught you last week. And they go, oh, crap, God dang, okay, well, next time I come in, I better remember them, because he's gonna ask me to show him. And so yeah, so I'll get on FaceTime sometimes and go over it with them. Take a look take a look at them on the floor. Main thing to do is to just get them on the floor. It does not matter, as long as they're having fun. It's got to be fun. It's got to be fun for them. So I just say, just get on the floor for 5 minutes for me. Just get out and play in the yard for, and once you get them down, get people used to getting down on the floor, then they'll start doing some of the things that you ask them to do. Are you there, or did we lose you? I think I lost you. Let me see. Erik's great. Keeps giving us a genuine. Thank you, Erik. I think I'm off. You guys back?
Hey,
Hello?
I do not know where Josh went.
That's okay. We don't need him. How you doing, Emily?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Erik.
I think it's a God thing. We didn't want him on here anyway.
Yeah, he may have lost connection, but that's exactly why I'm on here, just in case. We do have this continuing to record, so we can continue this interview.
Right.
All right.
Let me look at these questions. Let me see what's going on over here. I can hear you and Emily. I can hear you and Emily.
Yeah,
Thank you, people who. I'm looking at all these things you guys are sending in. That's so sweet.
Yes, it means a lot to us, you guys engaging in the chat. I do have someone asking a question if you want to ask a question, or we can continue this interview.
Absolutely. Let's let them ask questions.
I have Casey who's asking, what is the average age of your clients?
They range all ages. The only thing I don't do anymore, and I haven't done this in probably 10 years, is I don't take people, typically, I don't take people under 16. I had a bad experience working with a psychologist here at the University of Oklahoma Health Science Center, working with Down syndrome children, and of course their mothers brought them in, and it was traumatic for me. Because that's why I was terrible in psychology, because I would bring all the problems home with me. You know, I could not get involved. It just was part of my makeup, and so I did. I don't know how many. Probably close to 100 kids were bringing them in, and you know, and they were crying. I'm working on them, and I got them on the floor, and they don't know some of them where they are. Some of them were they thought that it helped. The director over there said, you know, it is helping, but I could tell in my own mind that I really wasn't helping those kids enough. So anyway, I started at 16, and I got people all the way up into 90 years old, which I love the elderly. I mean, they didn't get to be old by accident. You know, they've got not only good genes, but they're survivalists, they're rugged individualists, and I love that generation of people up there. So it's been, you know, I've worked on from babies, infants, way back when. I used to do a lot of that. And particularly kind of with the early cranial sacral. Hello, Joshua, you back?
Hello.
I am so sorry. I just made a video. I was hoping that y'all didn't get lost. I'm sorry to interrupt, but yeah, we just had a rolling blackout come through.
Oh no.
We were happy without you, Joshua.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Sorry
I'll let Emily continue. I'm so sorry.
No, kidding.
Well,
Okay.
awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Yes, so we are back. Thanks, Josh, for hopping back on.
Okay, sorry. I was running all over the place trying to figure out what was going on, so I'm a little off center again.
It's all right. I'm always off center. My wife says I'm always off center, so.
Okay. All right. What was the last thing? Where did we leave off, Emily?
Let me talk about something.
Yeah, please.
All right. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I just said that out of the blue here.
Oh, well, thank you.
No. I've got no. Hold on. Don't get all excited here.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. I want to talk about my Oklahoma City workshop coming up in September. Labor Day was supposed to be July. We always do a 4th of July. This is our 8th annual, and I'm really excited because Whitney Lowe, one of my dear I wouldn't say old friends. We've just been friends since 98 or something like that. But he's going to be doing the afternoon session. It's a 3-day workshop. And Till Luca, everybody loves Till and admires Till. And James Waslowski, of course, one of my oldest, best friends in the business. And Art Riggs, a Walford that's been around forever, who's one of the most skilled hands-on guys I've ever met, is coming. And I'm hoping to get Drew Friedman. He says it's a 24-hour drive from Boston. He has Boston Body Worker. And hi, Drew, I know you're watching. That's why I said that. And Rick Grabowski, who's his partner in the taping business, is coming. And of course, Sue Hitzman with Melt Method. If you guys aren't familiar with the Melt Method, she's a dynamic person. And there's probably more. Aubrey Going from Australia. But it's really an amazing little event. It's not about me. I mean, I get up and do my thing, and I try to do as little as possible. I teach all day Friday, and then morning of Saturday, and then Whitney will teach on Saturday afternoon. And then we break out into groups, got like an 8,000 square foot ballroom, and we're going to do all of this, you know, the spacing and all the things at that time that are needed. And Waslowski, a couple of years ago, was a co-presenter too, and he came up with the idea of breaking out in groups after we end at 5 o'clock on Saturday after Whitney's presentation, and people can just roam around. They can leave, or they can roam around and watch all the different presenters do their technique, watch them work, get on the table, work, ask them questions, and just roam around. So it just makes it's so inspiring. I mean, they finally have to run us out of there because people are still hanging around. But it's great to be able to have these educators that you've loved and admired for a long time come in there and be working at the tables with you, which is what I like to do best. I don't really like to be on stage. I've never liked to be on stage. I like to be on stage as a musician, but I never like to be up in front of people talking. But I like to be at the tables working on people. I mean, I'm a in the trenches body worker. I've had a full-time practice for 40 years, and I like working on people, and I like that's where I get my pleasure. And so, you know, I kind of admire my teaching assistants. I have some fabulous teaching assistants and a great staff with Kim Miller and Barbara Cardokas, who's my graphics gal, and all these people. We got a wonderful staff of teaching assistants. And we're going to have a big workshop there, and it's going to be fun. You need to get there, Joshua. You were supposed to come last year, and you didn't make it, bud.
Right. Yeah, I will try my very best, and I hope that it does go. And man, that sounds super exciting. What an amazing lineup. Yeah, that sounds great.
And if not, Costa Rica. This is our 21st annual event at Costa Rica. And so that's a blast. You know, it's a 7-day retreat. And it's just it's a great little resort, very inexpensive and wonderful to come to. So try to make it to something like that if you can.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I mean, honestly, I'm overdue for a vacation. I don't know about y'all.
You know what? One of the things about this COVID thing is that, you know, my passion is learning. It's not teaching, because once I started teaching, then I wasn't able to be the workshop junkie I was before. You know, I love going. On Facebook, one of the good things about Facebook, you can join all these groups, these research groups, and you can keep up with stuff. But I love going to hear, you know, people that may be a little bit even outside my field. All you people who have done other things, and you go, oh gosh, I did that, and I wish you would relate to what I'm doing now, body work. It all ends up relating. You might have been a mechanic before. All of a sudden you realize you're better with your hands than other people. You know, my psychology, I thought, God, what a waste of time. All those years, waste of time. Now you realize it's not a waste of time, because all that biopsychosocial stuff that you do that helps the therapeutic intervention, by when they come in the office and you know how to read them, you know, stress-wise, how stressed are they? Turn all this off. All my fan club, my wife. You know, you have to learn that, and that helps you develop critical thinking and helps you in your pain management practice and all that stuff. So, so I encourage you, while you have time right now, is to pick up some of this stuff. Go to my blog, it's free, and read some stuff. Whitney's got some fabulous blogs on his thing. Till Wozlowski, all of them. Get in there and get, because that's what keeps the passion. And this whole business is all about passion. If you don't feel comfortable one-on-one with people, this profession is not for you. I mean, in the beginning, I didn't feel, you know, because hadn't gone from explicit to implicit memory in my hands yet, and so I felt insecure, jittery hand syndrome, that kind of thing. But you know, after a while, you know, you start to really it increases your passion as you go along, and people call you and say, "My gosh, I couldn't believe that sciatica. I had that thing for 5 years. I've had epidural steroids, and right now I am out of pain." That's when you're hooked. You're helping people and you hear it. You're right.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing I have seen in this group is that they absolutely love learning, you know, from all of the great, wonderful speakers that we have, and especially from you. So, I mean, I really appreciate you and taking the time to just have this talk with us. So I really wanted to get one last thing, just to pick your brain, you know, have something kind of actionable for, you know, everybody that's here with us, is what would be your best recommendation for like attaining new clients or maintaining current ones, you know, if we're already going back to practicing?
I think you got to love your clients. You don't love them, but you love them. Some people in the spa format, obviously, are running people through and all that stuff. So you don't have the luxury of having people. I work on families. I work on everybody in the whole family for years and years and years. I love the way I've set it up. You know, I experimented with a few things back at the Rolf Institute of Santa Monica, and it really wasn't for me. What works for me is people come in, I get to know them, I get to really like them, and we chat. We're friends. We're really good friends. We come in, and when you make friends with your client, now if you're in a relaxation format, sometimes you don't want to do that because you're you stay quiet, you know. But if you're in a pain management and you're doing a critical thinking thing, you're still doing a history taking all the way through your session. You're no, so what about that fall you had back in da 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 da, and they all of a sudden remember something new. And so to keep people engaged in your practice, you have to really have a feeling for them and their family and keep that biopsychosocial thing up, because that's where you get the real therapeutic benefit, you know. And you got to develop your hands over time. It takes a while. Ida Rolf used to say, you're really not Rolfing until you've been in full-time practice for 5 years. And that was very depressing, because they told us that the day of graduation. Well, what are we going to be calling ourselves and doing for 5 years? Well, it turns out she was right. It takes a long time. Malcolm Gladwell has that famous book about takes 10,000 times, doing something 10,000 times before it goes from explicit memory, which is the memory of I left my keys in the other room, to implicit memory, where you just do it. Your body knows better. You just than your brain. You just get in a rhythm. You can get in a rhythm. And even relaxation massage therapists, whom I really love, people who do great relaxation massage, you feel that rhythm. You're in that rhythm. You know, and you can close your eyes and you just let your critter brain, your limbic system, connect with their critter brain, and that's when you get your best results. But the best therapeutic value and the best advice I can give to people is keep developing your skill set. Keep developing and getting people, as soon as somebody works on you, within 2 minutes, you know how good they are. You know how they're using their body weight, you know how they're doing all this stuff. And that's, once you develop that, clients are going to stay with you.
Yes, I love that answer. I love it when you say, you know, love your clients. I think that is of the utmost importance. And if you love them, you know, you're always going to make the right decisions. You're going to stay in contact with them, and you're going to make the right decisions for them in terms of therapy. So one thing that you did mention was actually critical thinking. So, you know, let's say we have some people that are like new to the profession or wanting to get in, or, you know, wanting to learn more. How can they enhance their critical thinking, like you're mentioning?
Well, in the beginning, you know, of course, you're going to massage school, and massage schools, even though the attendance has dropped down, the level of education, I believe, has really escalated a lot. And thanks a lot to people like Whitney Lowe and Ann and Erik, Erik Brown and Williams, and those people who contribute to that basic massage format, you know, getting them on the right track early. You know, that's the kind of thing. But when you get out, it's when you really start learning. You go to workshops, you know, that's what I did. You know, first I didn't, for the first couple of years, I didn't realize the importance of workshops. And when I went back from my advanced training at the Rolf Institute, I realized, oh God, this is what I needed, man. I need this spark. I need these people that pass their energy on to me. And, you know, and a lot of the stuff was way over my head. The anatomy was over my head. And when I went to Michigan State College of Osteopathic Medicine after I fractured my neck, everything was over my head. But I came out with this: if I can just pick up 2 or 3 things that I will use for the rest of my life, theory, hands-on, then this workshop was worth it. And that's how you got to go into a workshop. Don't go in taking every single note and all that. Let it come into your old animal brain as well as your prefrontal cortex. Let it all come in, and then you will be hooked. And once you get hooked on this stuff, it's the very best profession in the world. There's no better profession, because you are actually hands-on, communicating with people with your hands, which is so much different than sitting across a desk communicating in psychology or in business and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that. I love your energy. I love your passion. And that's definitely something that we can all appreciate, Erik. So, I mean, I really, really appreciate it. That's really all of the questions that I had specifically. So actually at this point, I would like to turn it over to Emily, and then, you know, see if we have any specific questions from our audience here. If you don't mind doing like a little Q&A session for our guests.
I'm open for everything. You know that. You know
All
me
right.
by now, Joshua.
Yes, sir. All righty.
Wonderful. Thank you, Erik. So I have Casey here who is asking not Casey, Barbara, do you have any tips for longevity in the massage profession in terms of physical shape? She says she works out in the gym, but wondering if there are any specific things to focus on.
That's a really good question. Um, Let me just tell a really quick story. Ida Rolf only took guys. First, I can't remember how many Rolfers were, all guys, 50 Rolfers, something like that. And because she didn't think women could do the work, you know. And so a little physical therapist came in. She was dripping wet, 110, 115 pounds. And, you know, but she knew how to use her body. And so she argued with Dr. Rawfoot, who is a stubborn old woman, and she said, "Okay, I'll accept you. I'll let you come in, but you're not going. This is not going to be for you." And she proved Ida Rolf, and I'd opened it up to women. Okay, so women are mainly primarily, you know, the biggest part of our profession, and I appreciate that because I appreciate a woman's brain a little bit more than I do men. No offense to the guys, but they've got a little better corpus callosum. They pass information back and forth better. That mother thing is all important. The compassion is easier for them. And that's what it's all about. It's not just about how strong you are and having to go to the gym and do finger push-ups, which is what I used to do for extended finger work. But I do teach that in my workshops. I think that's important. Like sometimes the first hour of the workshop will be nothing, but let's just do extended finger work, making sure that your forearm extensors are firm and your fingers are a little bit bent. Little bitty tips like that, technique tips, we call it. And you know, how to use your body to keep from hurting yourself. Listen, I would not have lasted. I have small bones. I'm really not a big mesomorphic kind of guy. And, but I work hard. I like deep work myself, and my therapist. You just have to learn to work at the barrier. You have to. The hardest thing to learn in massage and body work is how you engage the tissue at what speed, because you're waiting for the nervous system to go, wait a minute, I'm kind of protectively guarding that area. So you know you can go so far, but then I'm going to stop you. Well, that's where you start working. Where the brain is stopping you or the tissue barrier is stopping you. And that's the hardest thing to learn, the barrier concept. When I went to Michigan State, Philip Greenman, my mentor, has a whole chapter on nothing but the barrier concept, as it's called, and you can Google it. But for women, don't worry about your size, don't worry about your bone size, don't worry about all that. It's all about having to know how to use your body and your psychosocial skills.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that. That's such a great reminder. Myself, I'm a very small person. And that was my biggest concern coming into massage therapy. Will I be strong enough? But I've learned in the last couple of years how to use my body and have the correct body mechanics when working with a client. So that's super helpful.
Thank you.
So I have Gretchen asking, what is the most memorable thing you learned from Ida Rolf?
Well, that whole Rolf Institute back then, you know, people got into it because, well, you know, it was really hard to get into the Rolf Institute at the time. You know, you had to get there 500 hours of massage school, and then you had to go in and do it. You had to do a paper. And then my first paper got turned down because my Rolfer who was counseling me through told me that wasn't as important as the interview. Then you got this damn interview, you know, and you got all these people behind you asking you a question because they don't want you to be one-on-one with somebody and have some kind of goofy crap going on, you know. So they try to break you down. It's kind of like a psychological thing that they try to see what you really, you know, you're not, what the front is that you're putting on, what's behind that front. Okay, so, you know, the thing about women always need to know about Dr. Rolf, and you need to Google her. And I posted something on Facebook on my personal page and also in my Myoskeletal Alignment Techniques group page, which you guys have got to join because there's a lot of free stuff in there, a lot of great communication in there. Is that Ida Rolf was, you know, she started out as a research scientist. She had an IQ of 154 at Rockefeller. No woman had ever been to Rockefeller Institute. She had a PhD from Columbia, went there, and, you know, and she had a son that had severe scoliosis and was having trouble with him staying in school, getting in school, being able to do the activities. She started taking him to the old chiropractors and osteopaths of the day and picking up stuff and then bring him home, start working on him herself. That's in 9 years, the Rockefeller Institute in biochemistry, and she gave it all up, became a gypsy, went on the road, picked up a bunch of guys as teachers, and went on the road, and she's a model for all women. You know, I don't know. I just have a prejudice toward women in this business, and it's just because I think they have a little bit more sensitivity into a better intuitive sense too. So. Did that answer that question? I'm not sure.
Hey, it was still helpful.
All right.
Definitely valuable. Okay, so I also have someone asking, can you give us some recommendations for sideline work? Many therapists are not as familiar with the value of this work and will need to learn to accommodate those who don't want to lay prone for too long with a mask.
Absolutely. Sideline work is my absolute favorite way to work on people. I always start with them on their backs when they come into a session, almost every person, because I like to connect with them. Hey, how you doing? I'm doing this one technique. You know, you got to look for people for signs of stress. People coming in who are particularly, you know, I mean, when we get back to work, we're going to see this. The bug-eyed, they're coming in, they're not really oriented. You can see the pupils aren't really, you know, they may be dilated. You get them on their back, you do your intake, your history intake, and your da-da-da-da-da. You get them on your back and you look at them, but there's a certain deal that I go through every time where I'm facing them and getting up into the suboccipitals. Anytime you have somebody that's in semi-shock or shock, I always do suboccipital work, maybe cover them with a blanket and tuck it in at the sides where it gets that back to the wound thing. And we're going to see a bunch of that. So sidelining is a way to access people and structures that you cannot do supine and prone. Springing, I like to spring the rib cage to see how everything's moving in there. A lot of times we mistake that pain between the shoulder blades as being something, you know, I don't know, trigger points, and it can be a trigger point, stuff like that. But a lot of times it's the ribs that aren't moving, the articulations in the ribs that aren't moving with the joints and stuff like that. You've got to make sure people are springing through there. Otherwise, their respiratory system is going to be affected. There's new research out on that right now, forward head posture and how it affects the breathing and the rib cage. So all that sideline work is stuff you can do. You just got to make sure of one thing. When you get them in the sideline position, they got to have a pillow between their knees or something between their knees, and they got to have their knees flexed to 90 degrees. Otherwise, they're going to roll over on you. You don't want their shoulder to roll over on you. And if they start to roll over, you got to put that arm behind their back. That keeps them from rolling over. So those are two tips that are real valuable, I found.
Yeah, thank you. That's very helpful. Okay, we have a question about what are your suggestions to help keep business going? I know you
Well, you know, it's all back to that.
Wanting to keep clients engaged and give free help. What was that?
You're cutting out on me, but I think I got that question. But the key to keep people engaged and keep people coming back is keeping in contact with them. You know, I mean, I know a lot of you can't do that because you're in a different kind of situation, and that's just something I don't know how you deal with in the spa situation. We've got different people coming in all the time, but I always try to just keep in contact with my people to let them know. All they want to know is that you're there for them, because they don't have a lot of people don't have outlets. Some elderly people, for instance, do not have outlets, and they don't have anybody. Their own children aren't even caring for them, really. And you've got to be the one. I mean, I want to be the one that's saying, you know, I love you, man. You're great. That scoliosis is going to be all right, or your da-da-da is going to be all right. And we're going to get you in soon. Keep the faith, da-da-da-da, keep all that, you know.
Great. Awesome. All right. We have Nancy asking, how much do you factor the mind-body connection into your treatments? She's been fascinated with psychoneuroimmunology and how massage body work intertwines. Do clients often have emotional shifts?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so, you know, so let's just take an example of like psychology. You know, you said, like we were talking about, sitting across from someone, and yeah, you know, and people, when they come into your office, they're in what's basically called beta. There are 52 cycles per second brainwave activity, somewhere around there, down to maybe 30 or something like that. And in psychology, they stay in that mainly, or not always, but because they're separated. When you put your hands on somebody, their brainwaves start to lower immediately down to 11 cycles per second around alpha, 14 cycles per second, somewhere around there. And when they start to lower their brainwave activity like that, they are more susceptible to suggestion. Suggestion is so important. And here's what you say. Listen, we're working together on this, and you have come to the right place. We are going to work together, and we're going to solve this condition, this problem, this thing that you're having. You are just coaching. Yeah, rah, rah, rah. But you have to always make them know that you're in it with them. You both are working together, because it's not like a piece of meat laying on a table and you're slabbing on it, but it's relaxation. No matter what you're doing, you're touching people and it's changing them. It changes the brain every time you do it. So back to her question about the importance of psychoneuroimmunology and all that stuff, how it changes your bacteria and all that. That's a big thing for me. I'm a big microbiome freak, have been for a long, long time. And we're mainly made up of bacteria. And so the whole inflammation thing that Till Luca gets into a lot is so important. And the brain has a lot to do with that thing, because of the cranial nerves, particularly the vagus nerve, how that, a lot of that information is going back and forth in the vagal nerve. There's no separation, obviously, of mind and body. I mean, there is no separation. As far as the tissue holding information, the polyvagal theory and a bunch of stuff like that, that's something that we investigated and were sold on for many years in Rolfing. And I'm sure it's still true. I just don't see any research on it, but I'm sure it's probably still true that memories are stored in certain parts of the body. We used to say in Rolfing, you'll get to somewhere and you're pushing, and there they go. Oh, they start to have these memories of something, there's some trauma that happened there. That actually happened to me one time, though, and it really freaked me out at the time. But yeah, no, it's all one. It's all one thing. You've got to do the mind thing, the mind body is all one.
Great. Yeah. Thank you for that. So I do have Kate here asking, what tips do you have for keeping up our bodies and hands so we can hop right back into practice when we feel ready and it's safe? Okay.
I think I swim every day, and swimming is obviously one of the best things, but you got to have compressive. You've got to do stuff that's compressive. So I do floor exercises every morning. I had to, because I've had all kinds of, I beat my body up. It's been a complete wreck from top to bottom. But the best thing about beating your body up is when you have a condition like a fractured neck, like I had, or severe sciatica, you really investigate. You want to know all about that problem that you're having. So you become pretty much a pseudo expert on that condition. Okay, one of the things, you've got to put weight bearing through your joints. So one of the best things for body work, particularly if you use your elbow, is you've got to, or forearm, whatever, you've got to do planks. Planks have been around forever. Front planks are the easiest. Side planks are the ones that really give you that thing so that you can use your body. People have a tendency to muscle people around, and particularly if they're doing extended finger work, they're doing finger work, there's always a weak link somewhere. And the weak link in extended finger work is your extensor muscles on your arm, because the flexor muscles in your extremities, both your legs and your arms, will always overpower your extensors. These are weak. So you've got to firm those up. When you're doing that, firm up your forearms. Same way by doing planks and Rolfing, like I said, we did finger push-ups, which I thought were fabulous. You don't have to do that necessarily. I have a 25-pound weight, and you can put a 5-pound weight on if you want, with just a cord on it. I just got a nylon cord that's just got a piece of a handle. And every day I have a routine, and I do twisting, pulling. You're pulling this thing, the thing up by twisting it, rolling the rope around one direction and then the other. That gets your forearms balanced, your flexors and your extensors balanced. Fabulous, fabulous kind of thing. So using your body, with the forearm through side planks, getting that strength up through your whole system so that you're not compensating and using just a piece. And then for your wrist and hands, the finger push-up stuff, you want to do that, or just doing that thing with a light weight and rolling the barbell, whatever it is that you have attached to it, roll it up.
Okay, yeah. And to add on to that, I've actually have bought a TheraBar, which is actually
Exactly.
yeah, TheraBar is actually really great
Exactly.
for that.
They're my corporate sponsors too. Thank you for
Oh,
mentioning
great.
them. Performance help. Thank you, my gosh.
Wonderful. All right, I'm going to ask you one more question. We have Patty who's asking you if you've ever used essential oils in combination to any of the work that you do, whether physical or psychological for yourself or your clients.
Well, essential oils are obviously very, very good. Are in most animals other than humans, you know, the olfactory system developed before anything. It's the largest thing, and in our own human brain, we wonder the structures in the brain are situated so that the fewer connections you have to get to the hypothalamus, because the hypothalamus kind of tells everything what to do, regulates heartbeat, da 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 da. And so whatever structures are closest to that are the most important. The ones that have fewer areas where they can be inhibited by other things. So the olfactory system, the nose, is one of the most important. And so it influences the hypothalamus and the limbic system more than anything else. So yes, essential oils, as long as you really know what you're doing and you're buying quality stuff. I don't have a lot of background in that, but I totally believe the olfactory system does a whole bunch of stuff psychologically and therefore physically, right?
Yeah, great. Wonderful. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Awesome. So I think that means that we've come to the end of our session, our time with you, Erik Dalton, and I appreciate you taking the time again. You know, I know that we agreed on a shorter segment, and we really appreciate you fielding all these questions and, you know, just really spending quality time with us and sharing your thoughts with us. So we really, really absolutely appreciate you.
Great job, you guys. You're doing a good service right now. People need to hear this.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, and let's go ahead and give our chance to the audience. Go ahead and thank Erik for his time again. Remember, he's the one who kind of got the ball rolling. He's the one who pushed all this momentum, and you know, this whole podcast and webinar, all of this is possible, and it all started with your yes. So thank you again, Erik. I really, really appreciate you.
You're welcome. Hi to everybody in Texas.
Awesome. Okay. All righty. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see in the chat box, but everybody's sending you love right now.
Good. Yeah, a lot of people engaged in this. That's good.
Yes, absolutely. All righty. So as always,
let me ask you a question first.
Sure.
Okay, so can in the chat box, can I go on and reply to any of these?
Yes.
These are on Facebook, right?
So right here, these are all within the webinar, but
within the webinar. Okay.
Yes, but we're gonna tag you in on a post, and we'll give everybody a chance to, you know, share their love there, and then you can definitely reply to everybody there, because you know, it might take up a really long time because of how much love we're going to be sending you. Just saying.
Thanks. I'm writing a little post to him right now.
And Erik, just make sure that you do select all panelists and attendees so everyone can see your chat.
Okay, I think it's got that.
Okay.
Yep, there it went. We'll see.
All right, awesome.
Wonderful.
Okay, guys, appreciate you. Is that it?
Yes, sir. That is everything. We really appreciate it.
I do too. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
Keep the passion.